Okay, Jai Hind. Now I'm here to discuss a very important topic of the cloud computing. Basically, the architecture or the reference model. Myself, Dr. Santosh Kumar, Associate Professor in Department of CSC, Ajay Kumar Garg, Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Dear, we are here to discuss some important topic like this particular cloud NIST cloud computing reference model. Okay, as in previous lecture I have told you that this is the very big organization that play very crucial and important role in the field of cloud computing. That is the NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, and that give the different kind of recommendations. Okay, this is the basically National Institute of Standards and Technology, and this NIST is organized, this is formed in September 2011. So that have given this reference model. Reference architecture. What do you mean by reference architecture? When we talk about any reference architecture, that means we are providing some layout, some methodology, some architecture that are globally accepted. Okay, means on the globe everyone accepting the same meaning, same terminology, same concept. तो ये template description of the architecture probably defined at different level of abstractions. So highly abstract showing different functionality, lower level showing methods performing specific tasks. This is a conceptual model for discussing the technical requirement and operational cloud computing. Basically, this is the blueprint to guide developers in the design of cloud service and applications. So basically, this blueprint means composition of interconnected services, implementing reusable logic for building applications, list of functions and their interfaces, APIs, description of their interactions. Okay, so this is the meaning of blueprint. What is this blueprint? So basically, any reference architecture provide a blueprint for developer, for the vendor. Okay, so that can design the services for their consumer, and they can design the quality of services for their consumer. Basically, so this provide the composition of interconnected services and the reusable logic for building the applications, list of functions and their interfaces, APIs, description of the interactions. Okay, so these are the different kind of different kind of services, different kind of logic that is provided in the blueprint. If we talk about the NIST architecture, that is a very well known architecture. Basically, NIST has provided an hierarchical architecture in which they divide the whole computing environment, cloud computing environment, into 5 parts. There are the 5 components, known as the 5 components. What are that? Cloud consumer, cloud provider, cloud broker, cloud auditor, cloud carrier. What does it mean? It means that NIST has said that whole computing environment can be divided into 5 components on the basis of their roles, responsibilities in the computing and different functionalities of there in the computing environment. So it is very well known that whenever we talk about the cloud computing environment, then there are the number of people who involved in that. Who are that? First is the cloud consumer. That means the client who are going to access the services, who are going to take the services on the rent. So that is basically consumer. Okay, because if there is no consumer, then what is the purpose of these computing resources? Okay, so consumer is the basic building block of this whole architecture, because all the services are provided and managed and developed by the provider for the consumer only. Okay. Second one is the cloud provider. Okay, cloud provider is the entity who provide, who configure, who create, who design, who develop, who manage different kind of computing resources for their consumer. Okay, in terms of web services. So second one is the cloud provider. Okay, so cloud provider means the like Google, okay, Microsoft, Amazon, and many more, Salesforce. So number of providers are there who are providing, managing, developing different kind of services for their consumer. Different kind of services means basically three kind of services: software as a service, platform, and infrastructure as a service. Okay. Third one is the cloud broker. We will see in detail in further. Okay. This is the just introduction. What are the meaning of these 5 components? So cloud broker. Cloud broker is also an important entity. What is the role of cloud broker? So role of cloud broker is, as the name suggests, this work as an intermediary between cloud consumer and cloud provider. These are the person who are not directly developing the cloud services, but that can take the cloud services from the different kind of provider and customize them to provide a customized package to the consumer. So that entity, that personality is known as the cloud broker. Okay, so cloud broker is the entity who take the services from different kind of provider, okay, and make the package for as per the specific need for the consumer. Okay, that is the intermediary basically. So sometimes people think that cloud broker is also a cloud provider, because they are providing the services basically on the behalf of cloud provider. But the beauty of cloud broker is that cloud broker may have number of cloud provider who are expert in different kind of services. They are taking the services, they are configuring services from the different kind of provider, their best services, making the package and provide the best quality of service to the consumer. What is the cloud auditor? The fourth one, the important pillar, or you can say the component of this organization or this particular reference model. Cloud auditor, because we are using the services now, web services, so there are the number of quality parameter who will ensure that the services that we are using is secure, that is safe. Yeah, we are storing some data on the cloud, then later on we are using that. So who will decide that this is the safe data? Okay, or whenever we use the data, that will be easily available at that time, and that will be efficiently available. That means we can easily access with good speed. So who will decide these different kind of quality parameter will be ensured? So at that time there is a need of cloud auditor. This is the entity basically hired by the cloud provider. Provider have their cloud auditor. So basically cloud auditor have the role to audit the different kind of services that is provided by the provider. Okay, so provider time to time say to this cloud auditor to review, to supervise, to audit the services. For what purpose? To know if there is any loophole, if there is some contradiction in the quality of service, because it is a good way. If you are providing some services to the consumer, so it is good way that you have to check twice, thrice that before hosting the service to the consumer by itself, by our expert team. Because once that is launched, that is hosted to the consumer, and if there is some drawback, some not up to the level, then certainly that will hamper your market, because people start saying that this is the not good quality of provider. Their services is not up to the mark. They are not supervising security measure. They are not supervising the quality parameter. So when these kind of services will be floating in the market, then certainly your credit will be destroyed. So cloud auditor is the entity who audit the services, and in fact the provider time to time periodically say them to audit, so that if there is any loophole, any problem, any drawback, any shortcoming, that can be easily pointed out, fixed and resolved timely. Okay, cloud carrier, this is the fifth one component of this NIST architecture. Cloud carrier means basically this is the network services, because two sides are there na. One side cloud provider is there, CP, cloud provider, and other side is the cloud consumer, CC. Okay, meanwhile between these two there is a network. Okay, so this network can be considered, this network facilities is considered as a cloud carrier, because that take the service from the consumer, from the provider, and forward them securely and efficiently, effectively to the consumer. Okay, so these are the 5 major building block of this NIST architecture. First one is the cloud consumer, cloud provider, cloud auditor, and cloud broker, and cloud carrier. Okay, we will see these in detail. Okay, so some let me cover some particular component in this lecture, and some remaining in next lecture we will cover this. So basically this is the cloud high level architecture. 5 major actors with their roles, responsibility, activities, functions in cloud computing is defined here. Understanding the requirement, usage, characteristics and standards of cloud computing. Conceptual reference model, this is the same as here. This is the this is the cloud consumer, the user of end user or user of this particular different kind of web services. Cloud auditor, that have the 3 major role. Cloud provider, okay, cloud provider has the, this is the center, this is the heart of this architecture, where major roles, responsibility associated with this cloud provider. So basically if you talk about the main broad functionalities are the work that is done by the cloud provider, service orchestration is the one, very important. Resource abstraction and control layer is there, and then cloud service management, business support management, provisioning management, portability and interoperability management. We will see in detail. Okay, then the security concern, and resolving the privacy concern of the services, cloud broker. These brokers have the three basic roles and responsibility, like service intermediation, service aggregation, service arbitrage, and then all these facilities are carried forward by this cloud carrier, that is nothing but network kind of services. Networking facilities are there, okay, like internet, switches, router, like these, all the things. So parts of the discussion here, we will see actor and their role. We will consider what are different actors, like 5 actors are there. I have already told you their responsibility, what are their roles and responsibility, we will discuss. Architectural component, so managing and providing cloud services for deployment, orchestration, management, security and privacy. This is basically the concern of cloud provider. Okay, deployment, orchestration, management, this is the heart of this a particular architecture, NIST architecture. Actor and role, individual or organization maybe. So when we talk here the actor, so who is actor? That may be individual person or maybe organization. Like when we talk about the Google, so Google not a individual person, this is the organization. Okay. So when we talk about the consumer may be some individual, like I'm using some Google Drive and paying that money to the Google. So I'm a individual consumer, but my organization is using some particular type of services like Google, for the Google classes, online classes. We have purchased as an organization, we have purchased for the limit of 200 or 300 students at a time. So at this time, the consumer is the organization, not the individual. Okay. So similarly, the provider, broker, auditor and carrier, that may be individual. Okay. On some cases, that may be organization also. Cloud consumer. So we will start here in more detail, each and every, all the 5 components. Some will covered in this lecture and some remaining will be covered in the next coming lecture. Okay. So cloud consumer, this is the very important aspect and the pillar, stakeholder of the cloud computing environment. Browses the services catalog of the provider, request services depending on activities, usage scenario, set up service contract with the providers, may be billed for the service. SaaS consumer may be billed on the basis of number of user, time of use, net bandwidth, storage volume. IaaS PaaS consumer may be billed according to processing, storage, network resources, number of virtual machines, HTTP calls, number of IPs used, net bandwidth, storage volume. These are the different factor on the basis of which they can build. Consumer need SLA. This is very important. SLA, service level agreement. Okay. In fact, this is the base on which cloud auditor work. So cloud auditor audit all the services on the basis of these factors or the features that are specified in the SLA. This is the service, S for service, L for level, A for agreement, service level agreement. Okay, so here all the services and their qualities, their security concern, what is the uptime, downtime, okay, number of user support, all these are mentioned. Okay, and this work as a contract between consumer and provider. So consumer need SLAs to specify their performance. So consumer have the SLA basically, and they can complain if they are not getting whatever mentioned in the SLA. Requirement to be fulfilled by the provider. So this is the nature of consumer. They can access different kind of SaaS, IaaS or PaaS services. Their billing will be on the different parameters. They can monitor their service quality on the basis of SLA, which is provided by the provider initially at the time of login as a contract. Service level agreement. This is the contracts that are negotiated and agreed between provider and customers. So, to locate, reserve resources to the satisfy consumers' requirement with efficiency and optimally resource and service uses. Okay. So, this is, as I have already told you, this is the contract between consumer and provider. Okay. This have the number of factors that are mentioned easily, like uptime, downtime, security measures, security concerns, number of user supports for a particular kind of service like SaaS or PaaS or IaaS. So, all these are mentioned as a document. Okay, this is the basically document. To guarantee an agreed SLA, the auditor must be capable of measuring and monitoring relevant matrices like service availability, network matrices, storage matrices. Okay, these are the different factors that can be easily measured, that can be easily supervised, easily audited by the auditor time to time. Different SLA models must be considered for the IaaS, PaaS and SaaS, as each model set different requirement. Okay, SLA can be defined clearly for the IaaS. It is very important. SLA for IaaS can be easily defined. Infrastructure as a service, this is easily defined, but for the PaaS and SaaS are still vague and difficult to be defined, as these refer to the higher level of functionality but can be agreed between provider and customer. Okay. So, if we talk about this IaaS, infrastructure as a service, then this SLA is clearly defined, because that is the hardware kind of thing, no? But when we talk about the PaaS and SaaS, that are not so clearly defined, but yes, there are some parameters that are easily mentioned there. Okay. This is the example of SLA. Okay. For the IaaS, because for the infrastructure as a service, SLA is clearly defined, like CPU capacity, CPU speed for virtual machine. Okay. So, this is the speed that you will get. Who said this? Provider said that. Provider have this SLA management, no? So, they said that, yes, for this is the CPU capacity. So, if you are not accessing, you are not getting that capacity, that speed, then you can complain. Okay. Memory size, cache memory size for VM, virtual machine, that is also defined. In some other lecture, we will discuss in detail about the virtual machine, virtualization. Okay. Boot time, time for VM to ready for use. Storage size of data. Scale up, maximum of VM for one user. Okay. Scale down, minimum number of VM for one user. Scale up time to increase number of VMs. Scale down time to decrease number of VMs. Availabilities. These are the number of parameters that are clearly defined in the case of IaaS. These are the SLA parameters. Service level agreement parameter are there. What kind of services they access? You know that three major category of services consumer can access. No? Cloud consumer can access the SaaS. What are the different kind of services that come under the SaaS? Service as software as a service, ERP, billing, sales, CRM, collaboration, document management, human resources, okay, social network, financial, content management, email and office, productivity, the different kind of number of services. This come under the applications or this is the particular task that is required to complete by the consumer that have the need for this. So this is the software as a service consumer. What about the PaaS consumer? This is very important, this slide, because many times people have no clear idea about these kind of different services. What kind of service come under the PaaS? What kind of example or services may be in SaaS? What kind of example may be in infrastructure as a service? So here, database, business intelligence, application, development, testing, integration, these are the services that come under the PaaS, platform as a service. Okay, database management, application development management like editor, programming support like Python, MATLAB, Java, JVM. Okay, all these come under the platform. Integration, testing tools, debugging tools. What about the infrastructure as a service? So consumer can access storage, service management, CDN, backup recovery, platform hosting, and computing resources like the virtual machine or server you can get. Okay, so these are the basically here up to this time I have discussed what is the NIST architecture. Basically NIST reference model or architecture have the 5 component. Okay, first one is the cloud consumer, cloud provider, then cloud broker, cloud auditor, and cloud courier. They are the 5 basic entities, and their roles and responsibility we have to discuss. Okay, so first we have chosen the cloud consumer, the first entity, first pillar of that, and we have discussed different kind of their roles, their responsibilities, their right, their all the facilities they can access. Okay, so in the coming classes we will discuss the other remaining 4 component. Okay, that is the provider, auditor, broker, and courier. Okay, thank you very much.